G'day, and welcome back to another episode of the Best of the Rest podcast. How are you, Freeza?
Good, Stix. How are you, mate?
Bloody fantastic after that race.
Oh, Australia. Who would have thought?
Put on a brilliant show.
Oh, mate, this is why we're here.
Mental.
F1, we're back.
Just before we get into it, just want to give a quick thank you to all the people that have downloaded the podcast, given us a listen, chucked any comments out there. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Cheers for that.
On the bottom of this current podcast on Spotify, we're going to put up a question, so feel free to chuck some answers in there or even throw some questions our way and we'll get back to you or answer in the next pod.
Definitely. Sounds like the go.
Sweet. Righto, Freezer, do you want to jump into some talking points from practice and then maybe some quality results to get us started?
So practice wasn't bad. Not a whole lot to report on. We had a couple of spins, couple of loose moments, lots of runoff over curves and bit of gravel.
Bit of damage.
Yeah, which is great to see drivers actually getting punished for, having a bit of a fuck up and going off track. So
yeah, I rated that too.
Yeah, it's not just, track limits. You got to keep that car on the track or you damage and you'll pay for it. So
punished without writing the car off.
Exactly. But someone that did write the car off in practice session, Alex Albon.
Mm-hmm.
The old Williams took a bit of too much curb, took off into the wall, played a bit of ping pong between the walls for a bit there, a bit of pinball.
I don't know what you thought about that, but obviously it was a big crash, but I honestly didn't think that he'd completely fucked the whole car.
No, I didn't think so. I was, almost ready to put money on that he'd be back in that car by, quali at least, but no, not the case. Definitely did a bit more damage. Lots of chassis and gearbox and powertrain and all kinds of things. So, what was the next thing that happened there, Stix, with his fucked car?
Oh, my old mate, Sargent.
Your mate Sargent.
Yeah, big can of worms there, isn't it? So there was a bit of a murmur around the paddock that there's potential for Albon to jump into Sargent's car if the chassis was indeed damaged and they didn't have a replacement there. And then it was announced. When was it? Was it after after FP3?
No, just after FP2.
Right.
Yep. So on the what's that?
Because they thought they might have got his car back out and then they didn't, and then it might have been announced.
Yeah, it was late after FP2, I think. So then next day into FP3. Well, obviously they're already starting to work on it immediately, but he got the all clear, so he's into Sargent's car.
Sargent out, Albon in.
Yeah.
Sargent can't even drive his own car.
No.
which I've got a bit more to say on later on, but we'll jump into some quality results just to shape up the pod, and we'll go from there.
Definitely. Righto. Normally this would be 20-1, but they obviously had to withdraw Sargent and have Albon take his place.
So funny.
I don't know how I feel about that one, but anyway, I'm sure you've got some thoughts for later on.
I've got some thoughts.
It's a 19-1. 19th we've got Zhou, 18th Ricciardo, 17th Gasly, 16th Hulkenberg, 15th Ocon, 14th Magnussen, 13th Bottas, 12th Albon, not in his own car, 11th Hamilton, 10th Alonso, 9th Stroll, 8th Tsunoda, 7th Russell, 6th Perez, 5th Piastri, 4th Leclerc, and top 3 Norris, 2 or 2nd Sainz, 1st Max Verstappen. So, couple little surprises as such. Perez did actually quali 3rd on the track, but he got a 3-place grid penalty for impeding on Hulkenberg, which I actually still have not really seen footage of. So
no, neither have I.
It must just have been a little, in the way. That's about it. Enough for him to abort a lap, but nothing too hectic.
It seems like with these impeding incidents that they sort of get swept under the rug if both cars make it through to the next stage of qualifying. But because Hulkenberg was on a lap and supposedly got impeded by Perez,
Yeah.
and didn't make it through to Q2,
Yeah.
that's when they seem to throw penalties around.
Yeah.
But if Hulkenberg made it through, you could almost guarantee they would have gone, nah, don't worry about it, boys, play on.
Yeah, well, both Haas cars were initially knocked out in Q1, but our man, Danny Rick, second favourite Australian. Sorry, mate, but come on.
He's fucking struggling, isn't he?
He is. Yeah.
He's doing it rough. I don't know what is going on there, but watching that quali lap, I did pick up from one of the camera angles that it did seem like he did go over the line. My initial thought was, fuck, like this lap's deleted, but then commentators didn't mention it, and I thought, well, maybe I was seeing things. And then he put it through to Q2.
Yeah.
Oh, happy days. And then,
No.
lap deleted.
No good.
Start, second last?
Yeah. Second last for what's actually starting.
But on the other side of the garage for the RBs, Yuki put in a blinder of a performance.
Yeah. Old Snowder putting her up to 8th, so I think it was actually... Wasn't it 9th originally?
I think I've got 8th here, which is either way a mental result considering the car that he's got under him. He's definitely started the year on fire, old Yuki.
He has. He's got an absolute rip snorter of a start there, so old Uke.
The only other thing I had to mention from quality that stood out to me was old Science.
Yeah.
Given everything that he's gone through over the last couple of weeks, not being able to race in Jeddah, would have to still be sore. To jump in and out-qualify Charles is a massive effort.
Yeah.
Second position, even, that's sort of irrelevant in a way. To out-qualify Charles, who is a specialist over one lap, I was thoroughly impressed with that.
Yeah, and Charles was looking quick all weekend, and both McLarens there, they were looking quick, so for him to stick it into second, so that even before Perez getting dropped out, like he was, obviously still second. Perez was third, down to 6th, so the only ones benefiting from that was Lando, Charles, and Oscar. So
he did a ripper of a job.
Yeah, he's got there on his own merits on that one.
Brilliant. Righto, well, that will wrap up first sector of the pod. We'll be back after a short break and we'll have a chat about the race results. And we're back. Well, so we'll jump into a bit of a race review. We might start off with old Freeza going over the race results.
Oh, I'd love to.
Mate, you want to fire away with some of those?
Okay. Right. Australia race results.
Some spicy results.
So I'm going to start with Max Verstappen, and believe it or not, I'm not starting at number 1.
Unbelievable scenes.
I'm starting at number 19.
Whew.
So as we mentioned earlier, Logan Sargent withdrew, Albon in, car 20 non-existent. Not number 20, just 20th position.
19 competitors.
19 competitors. And the first one to not be able to finish the race is Max Verstappen.
Huge.
The second person not able to finish the race, Lewis Hamilton.
Huge.
Isn't it? What was the combined championships that were sitting on the sideline?
What did they say? 10 world
10,
championships between the two that were, after 10 laps or something? Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll certainly will. Anyway, actual results. Well, 17th, George Russell, also a DNF, but that was on the last lap, so he still gets a number. 16th, Ocon. 15th, Zhou. 14th, Bottas. 13th, Gasly. 12th, Ricciardo. 11th, Albon. Into the points, we have 10th, Magnussen. 9th, Hulkenberg. 8th, Alonso. 7th, Tsunoda. 6th, Stroll. 5th, Perez. 4th, Piastri. Podium, Norris 3rd. 2nd for Leclerc. And first, your boy,
My boy.
Carlos Sainz.
Woo!
How about
Love to see it.
How about it?
Love to see it.
How about the top 4 not containing a Red Bull?
Mental.
You got 2 Ferraris and 2 McLarens, then a Red Bull.
Old Sergio didn't look overly racy.
No, he didn't really. Didn't look like he was quite able to turn the car on this weekend. Not quite as bad as his teammates' brake failure.
No, well, do you want to jump into that then? Off the rip, Max, that's probably one of the biggest stories from this race.
Yeah, so lap 4, Max Verstappen gets he's just been overtaken from Sainz. I didn't see too much in pace differential, but there is claims that, the brakes had stuck on since the start. But Sainz, anyway, gets in, little Verstappen mistake, and Sainz able to pass on the next corner. A couple of corners later, smoke starts to, dwindle out of the back of the car.
Yeah, you start to see a little bit going on there.
Yeah, and it's just a bit of what's going on there? Is that just a lock-up? No, it's still going. Then smoke just about starts to pour out the back of the car. Verstappen pulls over to the side of the track, lets a few past, then makes his way into the pits, where his brakes pretty much explode. You see a bit of debris and smoke just bellow out from the back of the car. Pulls up with his brakes on fire, and
that's all she wrote for old Max.
That's all she wrote.
2024 Australian Grand Prix.
Fire extinguishers, and out he goes.
And
out in a flame and ball of glory.
You don't want to love the negative side of it, but I did have a smile on my face when that happened. Not because you don't want to see poor Max have bad luck like that, any driver, but at that point we knew we had a race on. It wasn't just going to be who's fighting for potentially second or maybe even third because the Red Bull's going to be out there. No, it was on.
I couldn't contain my excitement.
We were.
Sorry, Max. So much respect for him. He's a bloody talented driver.
Insanely talented.
And he deserves everything that he has achieved so far, and so do Red Bull. Nothing against that. But just to be able to actually enjoy a race and not know who's going to finish where.
Well, we were up and about a little bit, weren't we? We were a few yahoos. And after, mind you, fucking wrestling with KO for a while and dropping in and out, and then that skipping to live and almost spoiling the race result. But that's a whole other kettle of fish. But
that is, yeah. We won't get into that tin of sardines.
But yeah, anyway, Max done, race on, and all of a sudden it looks sort of like a different sport. There's battles going on everywhere at the front. You're like, what's going to go on? Sainz, Leclerc battling. The McLarens look pretty spicy.
Yeah.
And
time gaps were showing that anything could happen, especially between first and sixth kind of thing. There was heaps happening.
And then we roll around to Hamilton and Mercedes engine failure.
Yeah, so that was lap 17. Hamilton's engine just goes. You see him going down the straight and then just gone.
That was it?
Yeah, that was the exact sound it made, by the way.
Just a little...
Yeah, yep.
It was pretty violent though, wasn't it? It sort of big jolt in the car and then she's done.
Yeah, she was noticeable. And that brought out the virtual safety car.
But also a big story. Mercedes, is that a one-off, or because there's a lot of cars on the grid that do run the Mercedes engine. So if that's a genuine reliability issue, we could see a lot of cars having troubles randomly throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is concerning.
Yeah, scary to think if you're a holder of a Mercedes engine. What do they call them? Like a supplier?
Yeah.
Supplier to that car. Ocon had some smoking brakes going on when he pulled in that safety car on lap 17, so we thought there might have been a potential for something else going on there, but that just ended up being a tear off in the brake duct.
Which it does seem to be more and more of an issue. Tear offs flying around all over the track and getting in ducts and bits and pieces. I don't know what the solution is with that.
Surely they could just have a little rubbish bag in their lap.
Well, just
hold on to it.
Make sure they recycle that before they. But
paper
they could. Why could not rip it off and just tuck it down in the cab somewhere?
I guess
I'm sure they probably.
Couple of maybe reasons for that. One, we were looking at during the race how much room they've got between their knuckles and their the inside of their car there. They've literally got little grooves cut out for the hands to pass through when they turn the steering wheel. And I guess the second one is trying to drive a F1 car at over 300 kilometres an hour and just take one hand off the wheel and just, I'll just put this tear off down in my lap.
But I mean, they've got to take their hand off to rip it off their face anyway, so they might as well just drag it back. It just seems like such a stupid issue for Formula One cars to have.
True.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like something that shouldn't be an issue, but seems to be popping up here and there. It's not a major issue, but like, what if that duck that went into Esteban Ocon was a front runner for the championship and they had to come into the pits?
Nature
I suppose
of racing, I guess.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Another big storyline from the race, the battle in the last few laps between Russell and Alonso.
Oh,
So
the
Russell
battle.
on fresher tyres chasing him down
And wasn't he chasing?
and catching Alonso at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And then the broadcast cuts to, I don't know, probably one of the front runners. And then before you know it, Russell's put it in the wall.
Yeah.
His car's cooked on a 45. He's half hanging out of it.
Yeah. Sitting up on the other wheels.
You're like, what is going on here?
2 wheels on the car, 2 wheels under the car.
And then an update a couple of hours after the race, and Alonso's been handled a 20-second time penalty, or the equivalent to a drive-through penalty.
Huge.
For unsafe driving.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're claiming he brake checked Russell into that corner, which seems full on, and I'm sure Alonso didn't intend for him to crash, but that is the corner of 6 and 7, which I think leads into that longer straight on the backside of the track, which if he could throw Russell off would give him the benefit flying through that straight, which then he's only got more or less a lap and a quarter to hold Russell off to hold that position. But I guess given the result of what he did, it's an adequate penalty, but pretty full on. What do you reckon?
There wasn't a whole lot shown on the broadcast on old KO when we were watching.
Get on board.
Get on board. Anyway. Then seeing a little bit of footage back, it does look like, Alonso slows down a little bit more maybe than what you'd expect, but I didn't see any significant brake, like hard braking that was, not like a Verstappen and Hamilton when they were asked to change positions on that touchy subject. We won't get into that one. But, there is claim from Russell and, probably a few others, I guess, as well, for it to actually get passed through that Alonso started to slow over 100 metres before what he normally would. So say his brake mark is normally at the 100-metre mark. So that means he started slowing at the 200-metre mark. So he started slowing significantly earlier. And then there's also a claim that he then broke a little bit and then had to accelerate again to get to the corner and then had to lift or coast or brake again. So it was like 2 braking zones as such. And I think that's what's triggered the penalty. But, 20 seconds is pretty hefty. I didn't really see exactly a good angle of how that unfolded. But
well, it's got to be more than a he said, she said sort of situation. I think a lot of the telemetry backed up that there was inconsistency there with Alonso, which, he wouldn't have wanted Russell to crash, but I guess the idea would have been like, I'm in a position here where I'm going to get past. I can't hold him off. If I can interrupt his run into this straight, hold him off, then I'll deal with the next lap as it comes, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Russell did what Russell does sometimes, and he binder.
He bin Laden.
He he had a bit of a rough time there. So the biggest thing that come from this race for me personally, my boy Carlos Sainz winning.
Oh,
absolutely mental.
Look, I'm not a Ferrari fan, but bloody oath, I love to see it.
It's
not that I don't like Ferrari, just I'm a McLaren.
He's a McLaren man.
Yeah, just want to clarify that. No hate to the Ferraris at all.
I just crazy a crazy result, regardless of what Carlos has been through over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, to come out and win is mental, especially considering he's lost his seat for next year. Ferrari's made it clear that, Charles is, their main man for this year.
Yeah.
Next year, I don't know whether it's going to be him or Hamilton, but to come out, put in a result like that, mental. But also, to add on top that 2 weeks ago, he was in surgery and he couldn't race in Jeddah.
Yeah, and just watches Behrman pull a great result in his car.
It's mental. Like, it'd be that taxing on your body to be in a Formula One car, flying around, like, hour and 20-minute race today, averaging 240 odd kilometres an hour. Like, that alone is full on. But to add on that you've had a surgery a couple of weeks ago, they mentioned in the broadcast that he hadn't trained, hadn't been in the simulator. He'd pretty much done nothing but rested, jumped in the car, and to do that is absolutely mental.
Yeah.
So insane.
How, cruel some of these curbs are in Australia. This is not a good comparison at all, but I'll run with it. So you imagine you're coming home from work and you're holding on because your teeth are almost floating, you need to piss that bad. And you're just hitting a few little bumps in the road and it is killing, right? And then old Sign's out here. He's had his bloody appendix split open. Well, himself split open, his appendix out. Stix has lost it. Well, I mean, it's not a good analogy, but it's true.
Fucking story time in Freeza.
It's true. Just think about that. And then you've just had surgery. Well, you haven't. Signs has. Signs has just had surgery. Every little bump, riding these curbs, they're giving these F1 cars, like, proper damage. And he can hold on to that, like, the amount of pain that bloke would be going through. A bit more than just needing to piss after leaving work, but
comparable to a piss on the way home from work.
I mean, that's my comparison.
I think it might be a few levels above that, but
but that's what I mean though, because if you think about it, oh fuck, you think about how much of a struggle that is. The pain.
They're exactly the same thing. I've often driven home from work and thought, man, it feels like I'm in an F1 car right now.
Feels like I've just had my appendix removed. I need to piss that bad.
Story time with Freeza. We love it. We love it. The last thing I wanted to touch on from the race result itself was Yuki.
Yeah.
So after adjusted finishing with Alonso's 20-second penalty, to finish 7th in an RB is mental.
Oh, it's a great result.
Absolutely insane.
And unfortunately for us Aussies, his teammate Danny Rick, best he can do is 12th with 3 DNFs, and Snow's putting it up on 7th. Yeah.
Given his starting position, like, Daniel did okay.
He did.
But Yuki's just made him look like a fuckwit, really.
Don't forget, you've got the 2 Sauber blokes behind him that had more troubles with nuts.
Oh, fucking nuts, yeah. I think you've got a bit to say about that.
Oh, they've got a big problem down there with their nuts. Big nut problem.
Fucking Sauber and their nuts, Jesus.
They've got, I don't know if they've got sticky nuts or if they've got slippery nuts, but there's a problem.
Something's going on with their
nuts.
There's
a nut problem. I don't know if they're allergic to them. Maybe it's, a nut allergy and the cars are just refusing. But even Bottas, they both did a poor wheel nut pit stop. That's about as best as I can describe them now because it's just that common. They did their poor wheel nut pit stop. But then Bottas comes back in for what seemingly was a good pit stop, which was 3.5 seconds because they just took it a bit slower to get their wheel nut on properly or whatever the fuck they need to do. And then old mate drops his fucking nuts and it goes rolling across the pit lane. So I don't know how they didn't get a penalty. Maybe they did, but I didn't see anything.
I heard nothing more about that. But it's also weird because I was sort of under the impression that the wheel nut was like a part of the rim, as in like they didn't actually fully separate. They sort of were already seated there ready to go, but maybe not.
Yeah, I
Fuck knows what's going on with her nuts.
Yeah.
They ain't got normal nuts down there at Kick Sauber.
Oh, mate, there is problematic nuts.
Problematic nuts.
They need to get that shit checked out.
I reckon this could be a big call for next GP, but I reckon this problematic nuts is going to travel to Japan.
You know what a big call would be?
What?
If they don't have a problem with their wheel nuts next race.
Well, true. And
it's nearly getting to that point that it would be a left of field call for Sauber not to have a nut problem.
Man, poor Sauber and their nuts.
Specifically wheel nuts.
Yeah, yes, wheel nuts, of course. Wheel nuts. Only nuts. Yeah, so that's going to be a little sub-story for everyone to keep an eye on leading into Japan.
Bottas is now honorary Australian citizen, however that works. I don't know, but I'm all for it.
That fucking Uber ad he did was hilarious.
Oh,
Check that out if you haven't seen it.
Uber car share. Shout out to those friendly team.
Yeah, jump onto YouTube and have a look at chuck in Valtteri Bottas. Was it just Uber ad? Uber car share ad? Bright blue, can't miss it. Yeah, have a laugh.
You'll love it.
It's fucking fantastic.
Oh, that's what dreams are made of.
He's a good-looking rooster, old Valtteri, with his mullet flowing out the back.
There's no nut problems in that ad.
Nah, no nut problems in the old out of pit lane for old Valtteri.
No, he's keeping them contained within his budgies.
Righto. Well, I think that'll wrap up old Sector 2 of the pod. We'll be back shortly. Righto. Back for Sector 3 of the pod after some may say a red Sector 2, some may say a purple. We'll find out with a bit of feedback coming our way after this pod.
Yeah, lucky I've been ticking that explicit box. And
yeah, we might need it this pod.
Yeah, I'll let loose a bit there.
Righto.
I still think that's a good analogy, but anyway.
Beg to differ, but
we'll see. Please let me know what you think is needing to be equivalent to appendicitis.
Yeah, we might have to jump back in next week and read some feedback about this because we'll see. Right, so driver of the day, Freeza. Lead us away.
It was the man who needed to pee himself, Carlos Sainz. Obviously driver of the day part's correct, but needing to pee, no, that's out of context. Coming back after his surgery, first race back. He'd passed Max before the visible fault, so I don't think it was something that was essentially handed to him. He was already looking real quick through all qualies and practices and, just absolute domination by your boy Carlos.
Loved to see it. Yeah, my driver of the day too, Sainz. It would have been cool to see, I would have expected Verstappen to win, but it would have been cool to see those two battle if Max didn't have that issue.
Yeah.
Because they did look quite racy.
Yeah.
But mental effort, given the situation, to get that result, unbelievable. Very, very impressed.
Well, I think Red Bull predicted that they might struggle a bit more at this race compared to others just because of the tyre degradation anyway. So we know that Ferraris are quick on a quali, on a one-lap pace. So taking the tyre whispering out of it and putting them back onto a bit more of a level race pace, it would have been interesting. But I think even judging by Perez's finish is a reasonably good indicator anyway. So
it's a weird one because usually their tyre management and tyre degs pretty bloody good. So don't know why they were expecting. I guess maybe, I don't know. Who knows? We'd never know, I guess, because we only saw what Perez could do, and Perez and Verstappen are two very different drivers in that car.
Yeah, I think part of it was degradation must be quite high. So to have everyone doing a two-stop race, there's, you're splitting it over 3 tyres anyway. So I think that kind of takes their advantage out of it. They aren't able to stay on for a longer stint or get more out of a tyre or anything like that, maybe. I'm not sure.
Don't know. They must have seen something in the data that we've got no idea about.
Yeah, way over my head.
So what were your best moments from the race, Freezer?
As bad as it sounds, best moment was Max Verstappen passing out. Sorry, mate. Just Oh, it just made a race.
It spiced it up big time, didn't it? And you can see good battles in a race, but it doesn't equate to the potential battle for first. It doesn't hold the same weight, does it?
No, especially so early on, like being lap 4. And there's a lot of Max haters out there that would have absolutely loved it too. But just for the sport and what it's been lately, it was just great to see.
Spiced it up.
Yeah, that his name wasn't at the top.
And I feel like you always get people like that. Whoever's winning, whoever's dominating, you're going to get people hating on them. Like people who loved Max on the way up and him competing against Lewis. There were a bunch of people jumping on the bandwagon then, like, fuck Lewis, get up there, Max, rah. Now Max is the one that's winning all the races. You're going to have people hating on him because he's winning. It's just human nature. Well, for some people anyway. Yeah,
and I think there's always going to be those eras of domination by teams and drivers. So... you had Verstappen at the moment, you had Hamilton before that, you had Schumacher.
We just need more seasons like 21 where Verstappen and Hamilton went at it. Like that's the perfect recipe for good racing in Formula One.
But probably to be realistic, that's probably not going to happen that commonly. So I think we've got to respect people for where they are and what they're doing. But then when those times come around...
You'll appreciate it more.
Yeah, we've got to appreciate it, make the most of it, or even if it's a race like today and, you've got Max crashing out. Well, not crashing out. You got Max with a failure. You got Hamilton who, I guess he was
failure
only
too.
Yeah, just low points, but, another multiple championship winner to be crashed out. Oh, sorry, not crashed again. Got crashed on the brain, but there wasn't actually any crashes except for Russell's at the end.
That's what you like to see though. Opens the door, spices the race up, keeps you on the edge of your seat.
And I guess failures like power failures and brake problems are the best way that can happen because you don't actually want someone to crash because you don't wish that on anyone. It could seriously injure or
a lot of risk in that.
Kill. But it's just great to shake up the race. So I guess failures like power failures and brake problems are great to potentially bring out a safety car and
change things up a little.
Yeah.
Do you have any other best moments from the race?
No, not so much best moments.
For me, Ferrari 1-2. As a bit of a Ferrari fan, I've slowly sort of been a floater for a while, but I think I'm one foot in the Ferrari camp at this point. And seeing Sainz get up, I love to see that.
Sounds a bit bandwagony.
So, maybe I'm a red man these days.
Red man.
But we'll see. And the other thing, which I mentioned before, but Yuki, crazy drive, very impressed.
Oh, that was great.
Even though it sucks because Danny on the flip side, but to see what that car can actually do.
Yeah.
Or given a few retirements, but mental result, huge for the team, where points are going to be hard for those bottom 5 teams to even sort of come up with even just one for the race because you've got those top 5 teams that are going to lock in that top 10 unless you get things like today that occur. So just to lock in, was it 6 points that he got in the end? Like that's mental and should hold him in good stead.
Yeah, well, I mean, end of last year, start of this year, we were looking at Perez's results and Ricciardo's results and going, he might be a foot in to be in a Red Bull seat. But now with Tsunoda's results compared to Ricciardo's results, it's almost looking like Ricciardo could be on the out and maybe Lawson replacing him. So,
well, the pressure's building, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure around all those camps.
So now I want to hear your room for improvement after the Grand Prix at Australia.
Well,
what have you got for us? I know you've already sort of gone in on Sauber and their nuts. Got any more you want to expand on there or add to?
There's obviously a lot of improvement needed for Sauber's nuts. That is what I've had listed for my room for improvement. I already hit him pretty hard earlier. Hit him where it hurts, right in the nuts.
Surprised they didn't do that themselves. But.
Oh, mate. I think that's all I can say.
I've
just go off on another tangent on their nuts.
I've also got... I did briefly mention Kick Sauber and their nuts.
Yep.
That's just, it's a bit of a fucking running joke at this point.
Oh, it's a
like,
joke.
I've also got Alpine just lightly in the room for improvement. Like,
Yep.
it's fucking do better.
Yep.
Bit hard when they got a shit car, but you got 2 young drivers there and they need to pick it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. They could do a McLaren of last year. But I've got two main room for improvements.
Oh, here we go.
So
look at the grin on your face.
I'm just going to lead in.
I'm excited.
I'm just going to lead in with the mild one first.
Okay.
The second one may be a bit of a stretch, but anyway, we'll get to that. So Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
Fucking do better.
Do better, mate. Come on.
He's
Aussie proud.
He's under the pump, and it's building. And I don't know whether that has any effect on his psyche and then therefore race results. But if he keeps getting touched up by Yuki,
yeah,
then
not literally.
Yeah, no, don't want Yuki out there catching any charges.
No.
Yeah, he's leaning on his reputation because if this sort of form continues, any other driver could potentially be shown the door. I think he will be given the grace of a full season, but you just don't know, and you don't want to see him go out like this.
No,
he's got more in there. I don't know what's going on with the car, but yeah, room for improvement.
Yeah, definitely room for improvement. His quality result compared to race results aren't too bad, but when you're starting to compare with his teammate, yeah, it's starting to see a little bit of a gap open up. And, you know, last race he dropped the car on his own last lap or second to last lap. And this one he, had, his track limits for his time deleted in a home race. I think he has always kind of struggled in Australia, though. It's almost like a bit of a curse for him. The home race isn't giving him a home field advantage as such. Because he had, I don't know what year it was, but I think he got on the podium and then got disqualified.
They did mention that in the lead up.
Yeah.
Got a penalty for something or other and lost his podium.
Yeah. So he's had, I think, and that was his best race result. Other than that, they were all lower points or...
Well, you would feel that extra pressure. I know being an F1 driver, you would feel pressure of racing, race out, but home ground advantage, so to speak. Even just walking to the paddock every day, like the people flooding you, feeling that energy, it'd pump you up, but you'd also would feel that extra pressure to perform because all these people want you to do all right. And just seeing Piastri come around that last corner on the last lap and people being up and about in the stand for him for fourth.
Yeah.
So you could only imagine what would happen if, well, even a podium, it'd be a bit more of a celebration. But if, an Aussie got up on that top step, it'd go off.
Yeah.
I better hit you with my last. It's a little bit of a stretch, but room for improvement.
Kept us waiting. Let's hear it.
It's not the first time I've spoken about this driver.
Oh, don't tell me.
Fucking Logan Sargent.
Oh, you haven't. Mate, he didn't race.
Hear me out. Did
you not watch the race?
Hear me out.
He got kicked out and his fucking teammate had to take his car.
Yeah, hear me out.
Okay, go on. All right, enlighten us.
If he wasn't so fucking shit, they wouldn't have kicked him out of his car in the first place.
Oh, shit. He's fucking gone there.
If he was half decent, they wouldn't have gone, Albon getting his car. You go, nah, it's the Logan show. I got this. But fucking Sargent, so shit that the team doesn't even trust him to drive his own car.
Jesus. Mate, I was feeling sorry for the bloke that his teammate stacks his own car and then they're like, righto, out you go, Sargent, Albon. Have a geezer at this one.
Believe it or not.
You've gone in on the bloke too.
Believe it or not.
Talk about fucking kicking a bloke while he's down. Hang on. I've got some salt over here. Why don't we just rub some salt in the wound too, eh?
Believe it or not.
Fucking hell.
I did have probably a quarter of a second where I did feel sorry for the bloke.
Quarter of a second.
I genuinely thought, this is rough.
You remembered who it was.
And then I remembered, mate, this bloke's put the car into the wall that many times and he's fucking shit and he shouldn't even be racing this year. So, do better. And this wouldn't be, you're not going to see bloody Perez jumping into Max's car, are you? Because Max is a gun.
Well, that's Max. Maybe Max should have got into Perez's car.
Yeah, that might have been a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But fucking Logan Sargent. Do better, mate.
Oh, mate, that's rough. That's rough. We're talking about Australia here.
Every opportunity I get,
I mean,
Sergeant, I'm coming for you.
He did spin out and outbreak himself in practice, but still.
Yeah, well, that's week in, week out for him. That's him showing off for the crowd.
All right.
Not every F1 driver can do that, can they?
Okay. I've got a question for you coming off the back of your room for improvement.
Yeah, fire it at me.
Did Albon make the most of the situation in Sargent's car?
If I had to give a hard yes or no answer,
Yeah.
No.
Yes or no?
he didn't.
He didn't.
Considering the retirements in the race and there were points on the table, he couldn't even secure one of them. 2 Hasses in there, like realistically, he should have snuck in there and got a point. So they rolled the dice, hoping that Albon, well, he would, but he performed better than what Sargent would have.
Yeah.
But he couldn't quite get the job done. But you're not going to see Sargent up there in the top 10 if Albon couldn't do it.
I mean,
Thoughts
well,
yourself?
I don't think he's made the most of the opportunity. Really, I know you're getting into someone else's car and setups are probably a bit different, but it's still a Williams.
Mm.
Everything's going to be realistically the same. You've still had FP3 and qualies to get a hold of the slight differences that would be Sargent's car. If you look at Behrman can come in from a rookie, never driven a Ferrari. I know it's a Ferrari, but he can, I think he put it 11th and then finished 7th. No DNFs. Oh, is that a stretch? Was there no? No, I don't think there was at Saudi, was there?
Stroll.
Oh, yeah. That bloke.
Fucking Stroll.
Anyway,
Sargent.
he's lucky he got off the hook this week. No.
I'll keep an eye on him too.
But yeah, he finished 11th, but you had George Russell went out on the last lap. You had Lewis Hamilton, who was out on lap 17. You had Max Verstappen, who's out on lap 4, and his teammate, whose car he's in, who didn't even start. That's 4 that are, or 3 that are above him.
The door was definitely open for him to snag some points, and he didn't.
And you've got, someone that I would consider a direct competitor, like probably his biggest opponent. Generally it's normally your teammate, but that's obviously not the case. So we'll go Yuki Tsunoda. He's put it in 8th, getting 7th after the Alonso
Adjustment.
brake test, adjustment, whatever you want to call that. So essentially, I would have expected him to be at least above the 2 Haas cars. And he hasn't done it. My one thing was immediately when I saw that, I thought, fuck, that's not fair. But then, I did think, oh, look, it's Williams. It looks like it's going to be a season again where every single point matters. And he probably has the best potential to put it into point scoring opportunities.
It's a nice way of saying Sargent is shit. But
Well, mate, I'm not as fucking blunt as you, am I? Jesus, lay off the poor kid.
someone's got to be.
I gave him a bit of a roasting early on, but I think the last couple.
Yeah, you can be the good cop. I'll be over here being the bad cop. I'm happy to play that role.
Only for this one.
Well,
Don't talk about Sauber's wheel nuts though, because I ain't going
that's-
good cop for that.
that's your wheelhouse, mate.
But I don't think he's done it. That's it. That's my closing statement. I don't think he's made the most of the
made the most of it.
opportunity.
Well, a quick question to throw your way then.
Okay.
Which driver is under the most pressure at the moment?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Agreed.
I know.
Enough said. We've already rattled on about him.
Last set, you asked me if he was washed, and I quite quickly said, no. I think it's too early. I still think it's too early.
The W of washed has appeared, though. He's building up those letters.
Yeah, the writing's starting to be in the sand. Once this tide's starting to go out on the old fella, time's are ticking.
Could be in some trouble.
Yeah, I think still round 3. He could turn a lot around, but in terms of most pressure, I'd say it is Ricardo.
Rightio. So we'll do a race rating overall, but we've decided to change the rating out of 5 to out of 10.
Yeah, my brain couldn't compute 5.
You just love the out of 10, so we switched that up. So Freeza, out of 10, 2024 Australian Grand Prix. What have you given it?
I've gone for a 9 out of 10.
A 9. Quality.
Old ratings 4.5 out of 5.
Just to break that down, right?
Quick math.
I've got an 8.5.
8.5. See, you wouldn't have been able to do that with the old rating.
Yeah, 4.25.
Yeah, that's hard. That's quarters.
That's breaking it down. Jeez. Yeah, good race. I think, obviously the max situation spiced things up. Yep. Probably could have been a few more overtakes, but just the thrill of what's going to happen here was enough to spice things up.
Yep.
And then a little praying at the end, and everyone was okay, so you don't mind seeing some drama. But yeah, overall, pretty good. The predictions from our previous podcast.
The left of fields?
The left of fields, the podiums.
What do you want to go podium first? Do that. Yeah.
Well, we'll just update our points. Well, podium, we've fucking got no one on there.
Yeah.
Because we end up going the same, so no good there.
Yeah, so the podium that we both had was Piastri 3rd, Perez 2nd, and Verstappen 1st.
And that didn't happen. My left of field call from last week was for there to be 2 Australians in the points. Fucking, Daniel let me down there.
Again.
What was your left
You're
of field?
liking these Danny Rick ones and they're not paying off.
Yeah, I'm being a bit fucking biased. I need to think outside the box a bit.
My bias one that almost paid off but it didn't was Piastri in 3rd. Well,
he looked all right.
I think I just had Piastri podium, but realistically,
3rd. He looked all right there for a bit. A couple little errors here and there, but anyway.
He wasn't ahead of Norris for a fair chunk there. They got asked to switch, which I actually don't think was a bad idea, and I'm pretty sure Piastri actually agreed with that after the race.
Yeah, team player big time, which you love to see.
Yeah, that's one thing I just love. Well, not one thing, but that's something I love about the bloke. Just, they get on the team radio and say, switch positions and...
No hesitation.
Yeah, literally just pulls straight over to the side of the track. Like, no argument, no questions, no, I'll do it in my own time. Straight away.
Those 2 blokes at McLaren seem to get along well and work well as a team, which is good for them moving forward.
Yeah.
Rightio, Freeza. Who have you got for the Japanese Grand Prix podium predictions?
All right. So in 3rd, I have Lando Norris.
Ooh, right.
Let's do a little bit of a
back and forth
ping pong. Yeah.
I've got Science coming in 3rd.
Science
for the Japanese Grand Prix.
I like it.
2nd, I've got Leclerc. What about you?
I've also got Leclerc for 2nd.
And I'm guessing that we're both back in the big dog to bounce back.
The Max Verstappen train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got him finishing 1st.
Yeah, I don't think it will take much for him to bounce back. Just a car that works for however many laps it is at Japan.
Just to give a quick update on our points as well, I'm sitting on 3 and you on 1 with no change this week.
Yeah, I can see you're real eager to update these points, so...
Yeah.
I'm
keen to extend this lead.
A couple extra more than you if you're as keen to update us.
Oh, mate, I'm just going to run away. You won't see me for the rest of the season. Straight to Gapistan. Left field call.
I think you should take us away.
All right. It's borderline left of field.
Okay. Hit me with it.
But Albon to score Williams' first points of 2024 at the Japanese Grand Prix.
Is it left of field enough?
It's borderline.
I think after his past couple of results, if he couldn't do it at Australia, I'm going to give it,
just sneaks in there.
I'll let that slide. That's like my Piastri podium that in return didn't pay off anyway.
Yeah. What do you got?
So I've gone for the hometown hero. I've gone for
Yuki
Tsunoda. I haven't just gone for 1 point.
You got him on the podium.
Not quite.
No.
I'd love to see it, but I don't think he'll get that.
How far up the order have you pushed him?
I've gone for 2 points, 9th position.
That would be huge from him.
I think that's a good result. If you've got these front runners, without their issues, that's, well, I mean, it could be anyone, but potentially it's like a Stroll and, maybe an Alonso, or seeming more and more increasingly like a Hamilton these days.
Well, yeah.
He's been down the order a bit. The old Mercs aren't performing how they used to.
Well, we'll have to tune in to the Japanese Grand Prix and see if any of those get anywhere near the mark. We'll see.
I'm excited. We're back in. We're back into racing.
I'm so keen. Especially after that race this afternoon. Got me hyped.
Yeah. I think it's another late local time race for us. So
yeah, we can tune in. I don't think it's in the middle of the night, which is nice.
Yeah.
I love when people whinge about the Australian Grand Prix. Oh, it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Every single race for us is literally in the middle of the night, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Yeah. That's why, our recording time slot and watching the race is
all over the shop.
Yeah. Normally a Monday night after finishing work. So sorry for anyone out there, Europeans or whatnot. We're trying the best we can. It's a bit hard for us to try and stay up to 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. on a bloody...
Well, it's a Monday morning most of the time.
Monday morning, trying to get back into work and staying up for a race. We've tried it a few times and you end up falling asleep pretty quick, so she's a tough gig.
This podcast covered all sorts.
Almost as tough as holding your piss in after a hard day at work.
Yeah, you're talking about going to work, coming back from work.
Surgery while you're driving an F1 car. I think they're all pretty relative.
Rightio, I think that's going to wrap us up for another...
You're just keen to kick me off now, talking too much shit.
We'll get cancelled.
Yeah.
That'll wrap us up for another podcast of the best of the rest.
Thanks to everyone who's listened so far already. We've seen a few comments there. We've just got to work out how to reply to them, and we'll be on there. And we'll tee up that Q&A that Stix was talking about earlier on Spotify.
Fire away and leave us some comments.
Yeah, be keen to start chatting to you all and see what we can do to improve.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks,
we will catch you next week.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the Grand Prix the week after.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Good. Yeah, sweet.
Alrighty. Cheers.
Cheers,
Peace.
Oh, look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.